figure does better with a purpose. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So my career, in a sense, came to this point because I don't believe if you
Does
if you
better
don't
with a
see this
purpose.
point, you're going to be looking from it. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So you just don't riff and riff and riff when you're speaking in a recovery setting. You're attempting to sort of
Engage.
just offer a pair of glasses, like the book, A New Pair of Glasses. Just you're seeing anyway, that's a fact, but what you're seeing through is really determining the subjective experience. So, just keep pointing it out. Yeah.
It's,
I haven't gotten any message to move on, so and it's nice because I have the non-duality to go off. You can just riff on there. But the recovery, in a weird way, as an action figure, I get more out of the recovery meetings than the non-duality. The non-duality, you get pure emptiness, which is great.
but
But
yeah, yeah.
the action figure gets a little bit of a bump, yeah, because of yeah, being in your tribe and everything has a lot of value. I went to a meeting yesterday. I've been going to a live meeting now, getting back into it, and I guess it would be like there's so much. I'm a real believer in tradition too, and if you're in recovery, about there's a loving presence that expresses itself through our group conscience, and that's really the sense I get when I go to the meetings. There's a lot of characters that go in and out, but the space is that, yeah, and it's yeah. If something really saved your ass, you would have really, I feel, a natural reaction would be, a deep appreciation with a respect or an honoring. Yeah. I don't care about people on the cell phone. I do if they're on in a meeting. Yes, I do. Don't like seeing someone share and then go back to their iPhone. Yeah, that's because of the respect I have for AA, literally. Yeah. I don't give a shit of them anywhere else, but in AA, I have some, yeah, I'm touchy about a couple of things. And I think that comes from just a great respect for what it can do for people, man. I mean, seriously, the condition I was like locked into was a pitiful, demoralizing, spiritless servility state, and no human power was going to change it. That was incredible. Yeah, for it to happen, just mind-boggling. So, and how it happened, I thought maybe I would get better weaponry to fight the good fight, but it was really a disarmament. I lost interest in, I didn't, the thoughts and the urge wasn't there anymore. It was like something really took out a radioactive isotope out of me. And instead of being like a nuclear explosion plant, I was something else. I started to be used for something else. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. And then you learned, yeah, you just learn a lot by sitting around and listening to people. Yeah. Okay. Who's running it today?
I am
Oh,
Martin.
Martin. Okay. Are we going to do a reading or anything, or just
Yeah.
this is not an AA meeting, and there we
Yeah,
go.
this is not an AA meeting. And the reading for today, you mentioned something last meeting about wanting to read the chapter We Agnostics together. So we
Yeah.
figured it would be a good idea to just start chipping away on that one. And I'm just gonna start reading, and I figured to go over the first 2 pages of it today. But if you
All
want
right.
to start or just let me know. Chapter 4, We Agnostics, it's on page 44 in the big book. 44. In the preceding chapters, you have learned something of alcoholism. We hope we have made clear the distinction between the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic. If, when you honestly want to, you find you cannot quit entirely, or if when drinking you have little control over the amount you take, you're probably alcoholic. If that be the case, you may be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience will conquer. To one who feels he is an atheist or agnostic, such an experience seems impossible. But to continue as he is means disaster, especially if he is an alcoholic of the hopeless variety. To be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live on a spiritual basis are not always easy alternatives to face. But it isn't so difficult. About half our original fellowship were of exactly that type. At first, some of us tried to avoid the issue, hoping against hope we were not true alcoholics. But after a while, we had to face the fact that we must find a spiritual basis of life or else. Perhaps it is going to be that way with you. But cheer up, something like half of us thought we were atheists or agnostics. Our experience shows that you need not be disconcerted. If a mere code of morals or a better philosophy of life were sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many of us would have recovered long ago. We found that such codes and philosophies did not save us, no matter how much we tried. We could wish to be moral. We could wish to be philosophically comforted. In fact, we could will these things with all our might, but the needed power wasn't there. Our human resources, as marshaled by the will, were not sufficient. They failed utterly. Lack of power, that was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be a power greater than ourselves, obviously. But where and how were we to find this power? Well, that's exactly what this book is about. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. That means we have written a book which we believe to be spiritual as well as moral. And it means, of course, that we are going to talk about God. Here, difficulty arises with agnostics. Many times we talk to a new man and watch his hope rise as we discuss his alcoholic problems and explain our fellowship. But his face falls when we speak of spiritual matters, especially when we mention God, for we have reopened a subject which our man thought he had neatly evaded or entirely ignored. And I'll pause there for now.
Oh, great. Well, thank you, Martin. Yes. Some of these paragraphs just describe, contain the whole enchilada. Yeah. So if you don't mind, I'll just read again. So for the preceding chapter, you have learned something of alcoholism. We hope we have made clear the distinction between the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic, and then they say it again, basically. If when you honestly want to, you find you cannot stop entirely, or if you of it when drink, or if when drinking you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably alcoholic. Pretty good diagnostic tool there. Measure yourself up to those two statements. Yeah. If that is the case, you may be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience will conquer. And this is the view of these people that were the nucleus of recovery, AA. Yeah. Other people may find another way, but to them, the only way was going to be a spiritual solution. And what is a spiritual solution? It's just really trying to make it not a mental solution or physical solution. Yeah. Now, you don't have any like dimensions of spirit, do you? It's not this size or it's not located there. They were just using a spiritual condition to be something not of a mental condition, because they also say that the problem resides in the mind, which would be the mental activity. Yeah. So they were just saying, we can't use ourself, which is putting us in a dilemma, to get out of the dilemma. We need another answer, and they called it a spiritual solution. Yeah, and obviously they're just offering it. And in a way, with no strings. A lot of people offer you things, but there's strings attached. AA doesn't have any of those strings. It's awesome, yeah? They just offer it. Offer it. This is what it came to us. This is how it goes. And if you're at this wit's end, maybe you can check it out. Yes? And don't let preconceived judgments and ideas about God and stuff stop you from entering the program. Yeah, just get in the door and you'll find out it works. Yeah, that's what they were, I feel, the spirit of it. So to one who feels, I got to look this way, I can't see without the light. To one who feels he is an atheist or agnostic, such an experience seems impossible. This is what the head does. Do you understand the head? The head tries to make impossible any path to a solution to its problem, which is it. Yeah. You have to see the parasite is vying for dominance, and it's using the megaphone of the head and that narration to do that. Yeah. It wants you to be so perplexed that it's impossible for you to open up for a solution. That's the dream of the problem. Yes. The dream of the problem wants you completely neutralized so that if you even get introduced to the solution, you'll listen to the problem's take on it. Yeah. And that's what it does. I see it tons of times. Yeah. You watch a person come in, you know they're going to leave in 10 minutes. You just do, because they're had already, because of the dilemma of powerlessness. Yeah. They came in and the head already has told them it knows what this is, what they're doing, and then they leave. And sometimes you never see them again. Yeah? To one who feels he is an atheist or agnostic, such an experience seems impossible. But to continue as he is means disaster. Wow. Yeah. It's either one or the other. That's sort of a dilemma, right? All your games, all your moves on the game board have been shrunk to one square. But to continue as he is means disaster, especially if he is an alcoholic of the hopeless variety. And the hopeless variety was the two things they talked about, yeah, in the other paragraph. To be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live on a spiritual basis are not always easy alternatives to face. For some of us, it has to get to that extreme. Isn't that insane? It has to get to that extreme, either terminating my mortalness or living a life based on a spiritual solution. That's insane. That's insane. But it isn't so difficult. About half our original fellowship were of exactly that type. At first, some of us tried to avoid the issue. See, this is what doesn't work, yeah? When you try to tailor a message for the patient, it stops being a solution, yeah? It becomes an add-on of the patient's disease. You see it? All right, we're going to give up the ghost and go for less harm. Yeah. Yeah. But it isn't so difficult about whatever. But after a while, we had to face the fact that we must find a spiritual basis of life. So they finally decided they got to tell the truth about it. Yeah. Because this is what worked. unfortunately or fortunately, many of us here, what we say is based on what has worked in our life. Yeah. Maybe we would have liked it to be different, but we've come to the conclusion it hasn't been, and this is how it worked. Yeah. But it isn't difficult. But after a while, we had to face the fact that we must find a spiritual basis of life, or else. Yeah. Now, where does God come into the spiritual way of life? Does it have to? A life run by something other than the mental state, would you really have to emphasize what it is? It would be more emphasizing what it ain't. You're not listening to the old lower power. Yeah. You have a new employer. Who cares about the denomination the new employer is in? Yeah. Is it working? Are you feeling better about life while under that influence? And let's go for it. But let's really emphasize what we're not. Yeah. Let's emphasize that the presentation of our life by a foreign nature has misled us, yes, and brought us to places we would have never chosen to go to on our own. Yeah. So, but after a while, we had to face the fact that we must find a spiritual basis of life, or else. Perhaps it is going to be that way with you, but cheer up. Something like half of us thought we were atheists or agnostics. Our experience shows that you need not be disconcerted. If a mere code of morals or a better philosophy of life were sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many of us would have recovered long ago. Yeah. But we found that such codes and philosophies did not save us, no matter how much we tried. We would wish to be normal. Wait a minute. We could wish to be normal. We could wish to be philosophically, I think I said, moral, philosophically comforted, in fact. We could will these things with all our might, but the needed power wasn't there. There's the dilemma. Yeah. So when most of our power is going over to that which is playing God on us, yeah, we don't have the power to move away from it. Yeah. This is the admittance of our condition. This is the essence of the first step, really. Yeah. Just because you don't think you're fucked, if you're fucked, you're fucked. Yeah. It's a fact. In fact, we could will these things with all our might, but the needed power wasn't there. So it's the dilemma of powerlessness. We keep exerting power that we don't have. It's being used by something else in us, yeah? And that power is being used to defeat us, literally. And we're powerless over it. That's why I humbly believe if it was truly your life, the program could have ended at the third step. And there would have been you would have just turned your will and life over to the care of something greater in yourself. But you can't, because it's not under your control. Yeah. You have given over your power, or it's been usurped, or without knowing it, something has taken over, and you're in an occupied state. Therefore, you make a decision to turn your will and life over to the care of something else. The something else is not that we're under the care of now. Yeah. We're under the care of a tyranny, and we want to do it. We want to make a decision to turn our will and life over to the care of something else than that tyranny. So what happens? Obviously, it's a decision. Then we launch into action, which is the working steps. Yeah. Sort of like if you have like yesterday, I was taking something apart that was old. I could not get the screws out. So obviously you put a little oil in there. Yeah. And it loosens it up and then I could unscrew it. Yes. So this is the working steps in a way. Yeah. We are in a state of spiritless servility. We're like in an arthritic state. We can't move towards the light. We're sort of captured. So we do the working state, steps to break that, to put that oil in that tight screw, yeah, to loosen it up so that we can become malleable and be changed by the program, the higher power, through the program. Yeah. I'd like to say that again, if a mere code of morals or a better philosophy or a better workout program or a something else or something that, yes, you could say a lot of things here, wasn't enough. It's not going to be enough in a sense from their view. You don't think they had exercises back then? You don't think people had weights in their garage and was lifting them and looking at Teddy Atlas or something? Yeah. People did all the stuff that we're doing. And they're telling us it doesn't work in this situation if you're a real alcoholic. And to them, they found this is the only way. Now, you don't need to see it as the only way. You just need to see it as a way, maybe. Yeah. And then have your opinions later. But basically, they're admitting here that we could wish to be moral. We could wish to be philosophically comforted. In fact, we could will these things with all our might, but the needed power wasn't there. It had to be somewhere. Yeah. Where was the power? If it wasn't there, where is it? Yeah. Our human resources, as marshaled by the will, were not sufficient. They failed utterly. Incredible description, eh? They lived this description. That's the beauty of it. They didn't read it. No one had written it yet, yeah? They were the first ones to write what they lived. Yeah. Now we usually read what it was like, yes? But they had it, they were so into what it was like, they wrote it. That's incredible, eh? Well, lack of power, that was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live. And it had to be a power greater than ourselves. Very clear, eh? Isn't it? The dilemma has reached such a point, we need to find a power for us to live. Yeah. And a requirement, it had to be a power greater than ourselves. And let's separate the word ourselves and have our selves, yeah? Selves as something other than us, but ourselves. So we're in the act of being identified as ourself, yeah? It's not going to do it for us, yeah? That's beautiful. Lack of power, that was our dilemma. He says two things after this. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be one requirement only. It had to be a power greater than ourselves. That's awesome. Otherwise, obviously, but where and here, but where and here were we to find that power, or where and how? Well, that's exactly what this book is about. You ever read the Course in Miracles? Course in Miracles is an interesting book. And at one point it says, if you're reading this book, it's meant, one of the things it's meant to, for you to do for you is to save you time. Here it's saying it in their way. Well, that's exactly what the book is about. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. So that means we have written a book which we believe to be spiritual as well as moral. And it means, of course, that we are going to talk about God. Here, difficulty arises with agnostics. Many times we talk to a new man and watch his hope rise as we discuss his alcoholic problems and explain our fellowship. But his face falls when we speak of spiritual matters, especially when we mention God. For we have reopened a subject which our man thought he had neatly avoided or entirely ignored. You know, that reaction is something would happen to me a lot at meetings. I would share, people would come and say, I love what you said. Where could I hear more of it? And I tell them the Zen bitch slap, I never see him again. It sure sounds like that sort of similar reaction. Yeah. So, this is that famous statement, the dilemma is lack of power. Does anyone have a dictionary nearby? Can you just look up the definition of dilemma so we can apply it for a second? We all know what it feels, but someone can just look that up and tell us.
Here's the definition of dilemma.
Hold on.
A situation in which a difficult choice has to be made between two or more alternatives, especially ones that are equally undesirable.
Wow. So incredible. The dilemma is trusting a finite self or the infinite, really. Yeah? That's a dilemma to us because we're so torn apart. We're in one camp, but we need to be in the other camp. Yeah? And the one camp doesn't want to go to the other camp. And that's the dilemma. Yeah? Like in AA, when they told me you have to be willing to save your ass instead of your face, my dilemma when I came in, I thought my face was my ass. Literally. I was in the process constantly of trying to save my face, this image, yeah, not my ass. And that was a dilemma. Yeah. And they gave me a correction. They said, and when they told me that, it hit me that I was taking my face to be my ass. And that was part of the process of getting the power put into the right hands instead of the wrong hands. Yeah. Yeah. So that's nice. That's a nice definition of dilemma. Lack of power, that was our dilemma. Yeah. We had to find a power by which we could live. And it had to be a power greater than ourselves. So once again, they know where the problem resides. Sometimes I feel we have different views about what the problem is, but they know where it resides, right where we're standing or sitting or laying down. Yeah. I believe that which is the problem in us is foreign to us. That's the only thing we're really sharing differently. Yeah. Because I do not see a person who believes they were the doer of all those actions while under the influence is going to arrive at a place where there's no regret of their past. I do not believe that can happen. Yeah. And I do not believe the head, even if there were statute of limitations, it would not fucking follow them. And 40 years of sobriety, it will go back to that one thing you did to your grandmother or something, and da da da. And at that moment, that moment, you're once again bound to this idea of self. Yes. Yeah. So I don't believe you can actually not regret the past or shut the door on it unless there's got to be that was the escape for me. I saw self as foreign to me, and then the possibility I can be free from it corrected the possibility I thought I was living, I can be free as it. Yeah. So the dilemma was clearly answered. Yeah. I saw what I was trying to be free as foreign to me, and I started to entertain the possibility I can be free from. Yeah. And then a lot of effects ensued, yeah, for the next 30 something years. So this is why I don't move anywhere from there, because I don't hear it in AA, and I want it to be heard in AA, tell you the truth. Yeah. I wouldn't care if it's Kathleen or Peter or Tal or anyone else, but if I don't hear it, fuck it, let's go. It's just, yeah. I do not believe that, I believe recovery in the format that we're in is organic. It grows. It grows into things, it grows out of things, yes? To have it like locked into a fundamentalist view, to me, is like putting a living thing in a coffin, so to speak, yes? And I believe very strongly about this. One of the main characteristics of alcoholism is that at first you feel responsible for everything. Yeah. Like if you walk into a room and someone yawns, you think it's because you came in the room. Yeah. So you have a huge sense of responsibility that's way out of proportion. And then it becomes a heaviness and you want relief. So then you do some shit to sort of give you permission to be irresponsible. This is what happened with me, really. And therefore, when you come in, it's almost sacrosanct that we have to, see our role things and be responsible. But then that becomes another strangulation, yes? Because because of your feeling what it was like to be irresponsible, you want to be totally responsible, and you're not seeing what actually happened because your demise, you're not responsible for. Yeah. Something else was accountable for that, which is this idea of self. Yeah. So I know people, when I meet people and idea is introduced to them, one of the first walls that go up is the fear of being irresponsible again. Like they're not taking responsibility. I believe you're taking way too much responsibility. It's just, there's no balance there. Yeah. And you can notice it because many of us, it's quite easy to sing the praises of the higher power and give gratitude and know that it's doing for us what we can't do for ourselves. But that same recognition is not applied to the lower power, where whatever that thing drove us to do, we become responsible for all of that. Yeah. I think it's become a disease in and of itself. Yes. And therefore, I do not believe you'll be in a state of non-regret and have an open past. I don't. Yeah. So, and that is what? Bondage. Or as Jesus says, you have a mansion, but you're sort of locked in only a few rooms. You can't enjoy the mansion. Yeah. And not shutting the door, having the door shut on the past and regretting it is not, there's a huge room in there. Yeah. There's a lot of space in there that would be nice to be retrieved or recovered. Yeah. Why would you want that which had defeated you still have some of the land it occupied after the defeat has been over for 40 years? Isn't it time to reclaim? I don't know. It seems so crazy to me. So, yeah, great reading. And I think, well, thanks for reminding, because I already forgot the idea about going through we agnostics. Thank you, Martin, for being my memory. If everyone's into it, we'll do it. We'll just get through it, because there's a lot of some of the main nuggets of our book are in this chapter. One of the main nuggets is the lack of power. That was our dilemma. That's one of the main statements in recovery. Yeah. And we had to have a power by which we could live. And then everyone says, oh, that's great, me. And then it makes the very clear requirement. And it had to be a power greater than us. Oh, it's beautiful. So you're ready to go to arms, to arm yourself and go to the war of sobriety, and then the general just cuts your legs off. No, put that fucking howitzer down. It's a power greater than you, not you as the greater power, a power greater than you. So, yeah. Hmm. Anyone? I think we did it. Did we read the whole thing, Martin? Yes?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Rico had his hand up earlier.
Oh, Rico, come on in.
Morning, good afternoon, good evening, family and friends. Welcome. Thank you for letting me be here with you. I send you love and light from my heart to yours. Paul, you just read something here that really, really resonated with me, and I'm glad it did. I've read this thing 1,000 times. You talked about lack of power, then you talk about it got to be a power greater than yourself. What I like about this next sentence is that's exactly what this book is about. Its main object is to find a power greater than yourself, which can solve your problem. It doesn't say which can solve your cocaine problem or your heroin problem or your speed problem or your drink problem, which can solve your problem, which sets me up later to find out what my real problem is, which is separation from my source. So I like the way they put that like that.
Yes. Well, yeah, the problem is please relieve us of the bondage of self. Yes. Because that's separate, that makes a seeming separation between you and the source, source. Yes. It's seeming, though. That's the beautifulness of it. It's appearing to be true to us, doesn't make it true. Yeah. And this is I like Chuck Chamberlain's book, New Pair of Glasses, because that's basically, if you put on a new pair of glasses, it means you take off the old ones for a little while. Yeah. You can't put the new ones on the old ones because the old ones are first. So you'll see through the new ones through the old ones first. Yes. So you take you investigate the old glasses with the new glasses. You don't put both of them on at the same time. Yeah. So here's a new pair of glasses. Check it out. Yeah. First, question the glasses that are on already. Maybe pause, let them be taken off, and then see the old glasses from the new glasses. Yeah. Yeah. So it's about relief and to be of maximum use, isn't it? Well, are you of maximum use if you're completely co-opted by a past that you regret constantly? I don't think so. Yeah. Where is the playing God most demonstrated in thoughts about the past and future? Yeah. The one quality of what we call spirit is that it's now and here, being. Yeah. It's not a becoming, or it doesn't stop being spirit and then become spirit. It just is. Yeah. So it's like an eternal verb going on and on and on and on. Yeah. Now, if you believe the highest form of maintenance is doing stuff, great. But I believe the highest form of maintenance is being something. Yeah. Being self. Yeah. Seeing that as my nature, not a mental or physical one. In the hierarchy, yeah, there is a mental and physical and emotional, all that, but I don't like the lineup, the way it's set up. When the mental and physical is put ahead of the spirit, any life run on that self-will is hardly going to be a success. Yeah. So it's nice to have it allow by having this program work on you, have those things aligned in a clearer fashion. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a believer. The best way to maintain a spiritual condition is see you're not a mental condition. Tell you the truth. Yeah. All right.
No other hands.
Well, that's a beautiful thing that the Rico just read, the two things. Yes. I so love how it says the only, oops, wait a minute. Anything other than you. Anything other than you is qualifies as the higher power. Uh, Has any disease that maybe you've had a few or you know people who had, most of them don't present themselves as you, do they? And most of them don't, they may appear in the brain like a tumor or something, but appears in the activity of the head, yeah, not the brain itself, but the thoughts and everything. And it plays around with proportion and perception, and you see darkly, yeah, through the glass of self, yeah. It really affects you in the subjective experience of this place. Yeah. It really truly resides in the mind. And it will tell you that you don't have it. Look at how isn't it surprising when extreme alcoholism takes someone over, the person who's been taken over is sort of the last one to know. That makes complete sense to me because the parasite keeps you blind. Yeah. Other people meet you in a minute, they know you fucked, really, literally. And you're walking around as if it's something else, and there's a huge elephant in the room that's walking with you, casting a huge shadow, and you're complaining about Comcast or your phone. Yeah. That's some kind of camouflage, or yeah, I truly believe it says a lot in the book. You could be confused or baffled. I believe if you entertain the idea that which has defeated you is foreign to you, it makes everything have sense. It does. It explains it very clearly, because something in most parasite hosts relationships, it's a win-lose thing. Yeah, some are symbiotic. Most are. For the parasite to win, you lose. The host loses. Yeah, yeah. And again, the parasite will present your face as your ass, and maybe your whole life is based on saving your face instead of your ass, and then you get a lesson in AA, and they actually say where your ass is and where your face is. Yeah, and there's a correction. Yeah, and there's tons of corrections all the way. Do when you're under that influence, did you believe those thoughts were yours? Obviously. And you probably you believed no one else had the same thoughts that you had. And no one else felt like you did, and no one else did the crazy shit that you did. You were in a cocoon, even though it was transparent, so you didn't recognize it, but you were in a cocoon of terminal uniqueness. Yeah, completely isolated, so that the parasite had you completely. Yeah, you couldn't learn from anyone else. You couldn't hear anything from anyone else. You think you knew everything, and it completely isolated, really. isn't it? You became completely isolated, and there was just a parasite feeding on you and using you for transportation. And even when the evidence was that many of these unique people ended up in the same 3 parking spaces, even that the head will blind you to. You won't recognize the commonality of what has defeated us. I've watched it many times at live meetings. The person starts saying, "Wow, it's unbelievable. What you said sounds just like it sounds in my head," and they're ready to get it, and then they back into it. They fall back into the specialness or the individuality, which keeps you sick in a lot of ways. Yeah. You were not defeated by you. You were defeated by something other than you. Yeah. The statute of limitations is long, long ago. Yeah, even the terrible judicial system of America has a statute of limitations. The head does not. The head keeps convicting you of something you actually never even did 45 years ago. And when it gets a little worried about its hold on you, it'll bring the golden oldies up. Yeah. So you'll just slip right back into the straitjacket and shut up. That is spiritless servility. Spiritless servility. Yeah. Perhaps there's a better way. Don't try to trust the infinite, trusting the finite self. Just question the trust in the finite self, and that trust will move to the infinite. Do not give that which has defeated you the job to make conscious contact. The only way you can know God is in the God knowing that you've been under all these years. Yes? You're going to think God is a transactional event, like, oh, I got a parking space near the meeting. That's fucking God working for me. That's the God of the head. Yes? Please give up the idea that of having a God of your own understanding. Why make something that's so big so small? Just give up that idea and have a God of its own understanding or whatever. Yeah. Let it tell you what things are like instead of you telling it how you want it to be like. Yes. Do you believe if the mental state is where the addiction lies, that you can just give a solution without the problem neutering it and changing it? You need warnings to go along with the solution. One of the greatest warnings in our community is self can't get out of self. Not in the book, but people noticed that was exactly what was happening when they were trying to follow this way of life. The problem had become the captain of the ship again. And now it was navigating the world of sobriety, picking up the lingo, doing this, doing that. Yes. Yeah. Self as interpreted, no, sobriety interpreted through self. I got a girlfriend. I got a date on Friday. God's working in my life. It sure sounds the God of the head. Wow. Anyone want to share anything? I'm just pondering this situation.
Yeah, Linda Marie has her hand up. Come on in.
Hi, Paul. Thank you so much. Everything you just said, uh, for the longest time, I kept thinking I was struggling with this malady that I was trying so hard to not be afraid of. And then I heard a newcomer say at a meeting that she had this thing that she was really struggling with. And finally, she sat down with it and was like, higher power, please tell me what it is that you want me to know about this thing. And it hit me. And I was like, for all this time I've been struggling with, please don't let this thing happen. But what I'm really doing is struggling with the ego. Okay, the ego using this malady to make me look bad. It's the same thing. You're saving your ass or saving your face.
Yeah.
So with this malady, I'm going to look bad at meetings. I'm going to look less than. At same thing at my job. I'm going to look less than because I got this thing going on. And so when I became aware of that and practiced that, I noticed there was a big calming. But there's a thing in the big book where it talks about, and you did say this, how quick the ego will replace itself. So I almost feel like well, it's been kind of like a battle every morning. I'm fighting, I'm pushing against something, and what you resist persists is, I'm going to go there. And there's also a thing in as Bill sees it about how we go there with a bulldozer, and what's happening is we're throwing obstacles in front of us that make it even more difficult to move forward. So the
Yeah.
whole thing is surrender and letting the whole damn thing go. You keep talking about this parasite and it being a non-dual thing that we're working with. I have a problem with the fact because I'm given this parasite an entity. So I've got this parasite inside of me that if it weren't for the fact that my head needed me to get around, it would have killed me a long time ago. That this entity that's there that keeps me just running into walls and in this horrible, terrible state of fear. When I know it's the knowing, and I know that surrender and all this kind of stuff and just letting whatever happens happen, but that God, it's just a terrible fear. And anyway, I guess that's all I got on that. Thank you.
Well, see, when knowing in under the umbrella of the dilemma is powerlessness, that knowing becomes self-knowledge and it doesn't avail you anything. Yes? So it's that speed of claiming has done it again, but this is the beginning of recognizing it, and there'll be more recognition. And then the speed of the thievery will be put in slow time and you'll see it. Yes? You'll see exactly how the head works. And having a recognition why we use the word parasite is an imagery of communication, to see it as foreign to you. And in this case, non-duality will be the statement of a philosophy that doesn't work with this application. So we're working in the action figure. So we paint a very big imagery of something foreign to you so that you can grab on to that idea and let some breath get in it, yeah, and let it grow. So the ends justify the means. We're not a purist with anything. We're attempting to use things to trigger an imagery of recognition of something that you called you or was vagueness or whatever is definitely not you. And you'll get the signal of that's really clicked when interest is lost in it. Yeah. And when you see the birds migrating from self, you're on to something. Just let it go. Yeah. Don't whistle. Don't say, wow. Don't turn the birds back. Just let them go. And you'll find out through observation and experience, things have changed. Yes. And you're on to something. And this idea that is foreign to you can become established because it is foreign to you. Yeah, this is not a made up drill that you have to keep making up the drill constantly to keep up the made up drill. No, it's true. This thing is not of you. It is of the head and it's gone wild. Yeah. It's an addictive form that leads us to all the other solutions that turn into addictions here. The biggest addiction is never noticed here. And that is the mental state's addiction to this idea of the self.
Yeah.
the one who has the fear. And fear is only being used to point to the one who has the fear. That's why it hops on it and grows so much shit with mental anxiety. It's all used just to point out it's you, you. That is its stranglehold. And that you can't get out of itself. Yeah. When you as that tries to you lose interest in it, it's more interested in it. This is why there's warnings to the solution, because the system will regroup. Yeah. But if you know it, you can see it. Yeah. Yeah. Because seeing it comes with a false knowing. That's not working. So we need to present a pair of glasses so that you can see glass free. Yeah, we need to correct the old pair of glasses with a new one, and then you can put both of them down. Yes, this isn't about getting a new pair of glasses. It's about using a new pair of glasses and getting and reverting back to your original sight, which is awareness. Yes. There's this famous story about a guy from obviously in India, there's tons of parables, and there's this one parable which is the guy's walking around and it's his foot's uncomfortable. So he tries to ignore it and deny it, but it seems to get worse. So he finally stops because he thinks he's busy. He doesn't have any time to stop. But he finally stops and he takes his sandal off and there's a thorn in his foot. Yes? And that's the cause of the discomfort. So he looks around where he is. He finds another thorn and he uses the second thorn to take out the first thorn. He does not replace the first thorn with the second thorn. He throws both of them away. Yes? This is exactly what we do here in a way. We're using something as a thorn to take out the other thorn. We don't want the other thorn to be replaced with a thorn so you continue living with a thorn. It's just a better one. We want to see both of them thrown away. Yes? Yes. So there's a thorn in us. It's difficult to discern, is it us or not us? Let's paint a big picture. It's not us. Yeah, that's the second thorn. We dig out the first thorn. We don't replace it with the second thorn. We keep it there until it's not needed. And then then it's out. Yes? Then you're like a free range alcoholic. There's a freedom that has no bounds in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't take whatever we're saying to be true or not, because it's being said for a purpose in a way, trying to trigger, because a lot of the doors in our life aren't closed with a key, it's imagery. Yes. When you see the door can be open, then the door is open. So it's imagery. So communication, a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. Do you understand that idea?
Mm-hmm.
So we produce imagery with the words to produce something, because it has much more potency than thoughts, words. Yes? Yeah. Now, am I beholden? Is there a real parasite? No. You can't get a microscope. There's not a thing called a parasite, but its whole characteristic is a parasitical nature. Yeah. So we use the term parasite not to have you go to a lab and look at, oh, take some of my blood. Is there an alcoholic parasite in me? No, it's an imagery to produce an effect. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get a taste of freedom, yeah. 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 Do you understand that if you take that which has defeated you to be you, the freedom as that is part of a bondage? And then people say, well, I'm not using the word ego. Well, self is a part of me. Yes, but it thinks it's all of you.
Yeah.
Its thinking, its view is it's all of you. Yes?
Yeah.
And there's no part of you that it's under its all of you that is going to have more power than it. Yes, I'm serious. I've seen it. So yeah, this is so non-duality is beautiful. Don't let it, if we use the imagery of two in this situation, don't negate that use, because sometimes the best way to see things is a negation, not an affirmation. Yes? So you get something presented that's very familiar to you, and then there's a presentation that it may be foreign to you. That works. Yes? To say that all you are is love, is that working? Probably not. Yes? Yes. So forgive me for my sly usages of a lot of things. Because the ends that we're shooting for is a stabilized relief from the bondage of self. Yeah. Day in, day out. You wake up in that basis, you go to sleep in that basis. Yes. And what happens in between, you seem to travel much lighter through. Yeah. There you go.
You had said something um earlier about, and and it's true about the steps. How can you help somebody when you got a lot of baggage of your own? There's an Emmett Fox reading that I had read a while back, and it had the same connotation, but he used the thing about a physical malady, and I'm sorry to keep staying there because I'm confused by it. But the thing was how can you um, have peace of mind when you have digestive issues, right? So it's like that spiritual axiom that's in the big book. No matter if you're upset about something, no matter what the cause, is something wrong with you. So,
Well, can I jump in a second?
yes,
First of all,
please.
no, I do not believe that you have to have it to give it away. I believe if you're
Okay.
willing to give it away, you have it. Yeah. I've heard great wisdom from someone who was totally fucked. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that thing. I also don't believe that the body rules supreme over your condition, because I've seen people who were super bright and they were dying of bone cancer. They couldn't even leave their bed. So I believe that the lighter spirit outshines circumstances and situations. Yes. I believe that pain draws our attention to it, and that there's going to be pain, but what can be changed a lot, not by you, but by a view, which is suffering, because the mental state jumps on pain and uses it quite a lot to produce another sort of pain called drip by drip suffering. So when you feel a pain and it feels like you're going to feel like it for that forever, that's suffering. That's not the pain. That is not the pain. The pain is being used by the head to now get into suffering, which is a whole different thing. Yes? So, yeah. Yeah. It's good to be clear about certain things, because fear is a valid emotion, definitely. It has a purpose in this situation. The head uses fear and by triggering of mental anxiety. So what puts you in so much fear is great faith in the mental anxiety. Yeah. So there's such a belief in the thoughts and what they're telling us, we mimic the fear now when there's no apparent threat. Now, if we wanted to be clear, we would start talking it about as mental anxiety. Because most people think fear is a cause of a lot of shit. In AA's diagnosis, it's an effect, and it's an effect of self-reliance. Says it right in the book, page 67, I think. Why are you in so much fear today? Isn't it because self-reliance has failed you? There you go. Yeah. So everyone's the big cause of fear, but it's actually an effect. So to get to the exact nature of the wrong and the underlying causes and conditions, you don't stop at fear, you stop at self-reliance. That's the underlying cause of the fear. If you're following the directions of the 12 steps, that's the direction. When it says get down to causes and conditions, the cause of fear isn't fear itself, it's self-reliance. It says it in a book. We're not putting anything new in there. Yeah? So follow the diagnosis and stop calling causes or stop calling effects causes. Yeah? Get to the cause and see the other shit as effects. And that to me is a clear recognition. Yeah. Something's playing the emotion of fear because it's not being triggered by the apparent threat because there's no apparent threat right now. So to trigger that fear, there's got to be great faith in the thoughts. And so there is. Yeah. So there is. So get a clear diagnosis and then see where you go. I mean, we're saying things that aren't true mostly all day. Manifestations of selves aren't ours. Why do you keep calling resentments yours when it says very clearly they're manifestations of self in one's life? Why do you keep doing that? If you're free and independent, a simple recognition of that should change the format of your language. Yeah. It's like you're wishing something to be removed, but you're actually hugging it to stay. Which is it? Yes. Look at the word my. That's faith in action. They talk about this program, faith has to be in action. You're the effect of faith in action right now. Faith in the thought system is what's causing your anxiety at the moment. It's faith. It's always been faith. Read page 43 in the We Agnostics of 53. You'll recognize that faith had something to do all the time. In other words, faith is the main mover of everything. Yeah. Did you not notice there was great faith in the thoughts that were directing you while you were under the influence? I swear to God, I was under spiritless servility. I listened to every one of them like an order from the high above. Yes? It was faith. Yeah. Why does it say we got to get down to the exact nature of the wrong? You can't keep calling fear when it isn't. It's mental anxiety riding the wave of fear that it triggered through shit that wasn't actually happening. So the system has an alarm that goes off when there's fire. The mental state has jacked into that, cut off the need for the fire, and has you in a state of fear all fucking day. You call the fire department, they come, there's no fire. Yeah. After a while, people don't want to see you anymore. You constantly, everything's, no. Yes. It's like the boy who cried wolf. That boy was driven by faith. Yes. So this program is recognize stuff. And you come to it, and there's only two possibilities. And of course, non-duality would say there's no possibility. But we're talking about this here. And the possibility is trust in finite self or trust in infinite. Yeah. Just take a look, and if you have a higher power, ask it to inform you where you as trust lies. Yes? And if it's lying in what you don't want it to be lying in, ask for the help for that to be moved and you placed in a position of neutrality. And yes. Yeah. Let something pick you up instead of planning the drive there. Yeah. Just tell the truth of what's going on and things can happen. Yes. I hate that the fear is used so much. And you know what triggers when you trigger the memory of fear is those times when there was a real threat. It's using that to refeel when it's making up the threat. Do you see? Remember when you were really afraid, like when the car went off, or let's say, you started to go or you were sliding on the road, or you felt the wave was way too fucking big and you couldn't get under it fast enough and you were going to get whacked. That was fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where that is being remembered with mental anxiety. That's exactly just like resentment is a refeeling. The fear is a fucking refeeling. You're refeeling a fear as if you're underneath a 30-foot wave and you can't get under it and it's going to break on you. And you heard a sound in the kitchen. Yeah. So it's using a sound in the kitchen to re-trigger the feeling of that fear you had in the water. It's fucking incredible. Yes or no? Look at
Yeah.
it. What is a resentment? It's a refeeling. So something that really was something in this life gets triggered by something that wasn't that really something. Yeah, it doesn't need the water. It doesn't need the wave. It just needs faith. The head needs faith in its presentation and it triggers fear.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes. No, I could see that.
I'm outmatched. I surrender.
Yeah.
Yes, I know I have a lot of power, but I see it being misused quite a lot. Let's bring in a new employer, please. Yes, let's do an audit. Check it out. Saleable goods, not saleable goods.
Yeah.
Yes, please. I mean, do I want to feel the same way I felt when my father died when I break up with somebody? Do I want it that way? I went out with him for 3 days and I'm like incredible fear of being unloved for the rest of my life because it's re-triggering a feeling I had when my father passed away. Do I really want to live under that tyranny? That it can play fear like an instrument any fucking time it wants because it has all the faith in the world behind it. Us. And because they're called my thoughts. My feelings become facts, but they're not facts. Yeah, yeah. I had enough, thank God, but I couldn't get out because I didn't have this key, which was because I was truly trying to be free as self. I was. I had taken upon the image presented by the head as me. Yeah. And everything else would be questioned other than that. And I was at a loss and severely limiting the effects of the program because of that. Yeah. And then suddenly one night I saw the word self and it meant something foreign to me. And the next time I shared at a meeting to try to get that across, I used the word parasite. And then it seemed to work as a tool of communication, so we stuck with it. Yeah. And then people would say, well, there isn't a parasite. Of course there isn't. But the imagery is awesome to recognize you're not that. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's the whole point. The whole point is to recognize what has defeated you is not you, so that you can be free from it, literally. If you keep calling it you, you're going to be stuck in the non-getting out of self, can't get out of self. It just goes on and on and on. Yeah. And I'll keep coming back until I fucking die, probably, because I haven't been moved. I'd like to riff on other shit. Sure, I would love to create a school and have black belts and red belts and everything like that, and have long fucking seminars and have a lot of people. Wow, this guy's really fucking awesome. But no, the point that was driven to me was if you don't see this, you're looking from it. If you don't see the occupation of self, you're occupied by self. And I haven't got from my headquarters, I haven't heard anything new. So here I go every day. I am flat out convinced that if you don't see this, you're going to be looking from it. I am completely convinced of that because that's exactly the state I was in. Yeah. I was seeing a lot of shit, but I was still always looking from this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't see so much, but everything I see is really fresh and cool because I'm not looking from this. I see this also. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, oh, oh. Hey, thank you so
Paul, we have two more hands up.
All right, if anyone wants to stay, go. This is, class was, when you walked in, class was called off. So just if you want to hang out, hang out. All right, another.
First one up was Peter.
All
Come
right,
in.
Peter, come on in.
Yeah, Peter, I had a two-parter. I'm going to let go of the first part. Second part, the other day I bought an anniversary coin for someone. And on the bottom, it says, "To thine own self be true." I don't know. It's one of those Greek guys who said that. I can't remember his name. So, to thine own self be true. I mean, what did he mean, do you think?
I
To
would
this parasite, to
No.
investigate it, to
No, I think let's say in India, they use the word self to mean everything,
okay.
capital. So back in Greece and stuff, I think when they were using the term self, it was the innermost. Yeah. What we're using self as is how it's presented in recovery, that which has defeated us. Yes. Some people would call it ego. I don't like that terminology because when you talk about an ego, there's a saying that I have an ego. Who is that I that has the ego? I would
Yeah.
say self. Yeah. That's the idea of self. So, yeah, in Hinduism, the big S self is everything. Yes.
Okay.
But we're using the small s self. So I'm not into thy own self be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one. Oh, good. And
Hmm.
you want to ask the first one. That was quick. That was quickly, I think. Yeah.
No, I was just thinking, so there's this concept of, you know, the what am I going to say? The bondage of self and the parasite and so on and so forth. When I came in and everything, it didn't seem to me that anybody was aware of this. They were going along with this, what looks to me now as a delusion. They weren't reading between the lines, they were reading along, and none of this meant anything to them. They didn't see the separation, you know. And so now I look and I never read this the way that I did before reading We Agnostics. And so it's saying, where is it here? And we had to be a power greater, we had to find a power greater than ourselves, and to find a power greater than yourself. And when I asked them, what the book was for, they said to find a higher power. I said, what is this book for? They said, to get sober, to stop drinking. And I said, what does this mean? They said, well, the book is about finding a higher power. And they said nothing about yourself. And when it says yourself, I don't think that they realize that it really meant two different words. They put it all together as one thing, which is what the majority meant, but it wasn't yourself, which is, I think, what the minority here means.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just reading the same book, but in a different light.
A different way. Many ways to read the Bible. Yeah.
Yeah, because I believe, obviously, the authors of this book were not the owner of it. I would say this was they did their best to translate downloads, really, because they got somehow there wasn't an AA before them, and so this is And if you read, let's say, the 12 and 12, it sounds much different than the big book. I like the big book. There's something in there. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so a
Yeah.
lot of times they say something one way and then they go back to the old way, which is you're the source of the problem and you manufacture your own misery. And then they say self is what has defeated us. So I mean, so basically we're just looking at the same book in a different light. Yeah. But light is light. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's all. And as members, we're trying to share it, and we found a safe harbor to share it by not having a meeting, AA meeting, and having this go on.
Yeah.
And so we've
It was, you know, it's like reading,
5 years. Hmm?
it was like reading, you know, like page 62, 64. And it was like, for me, looking now, is like you needed to read between the lines, and they weren't reading between the lines.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, that makes me feel good about it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we're attempting to do. We're not changing anything. We're
No.
just seeing something. Yes. Yeah, this is an organic event. It wasn't, we're not going to have Saint Bob and Saint Bill and Saint, yes, and start going to Bill's pool back of his house and call it a sissy, or Lords. We're not doing that. It's an organic thing. Things move through us. Bill as an action figure had a heavy fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what came through him was this message. He was not the message. He was not the embodied message. There isn't an embodied message. This is progress, not perfection. But he was a conveyor of the message. The
Mhm.
message came through these people. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing that's happening here now. Yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely, the message is not the message. The messenger is not the message. The messenger is a messenger. That's what it is. Yeah. The hose is a hose. Even though it conducts a lot of water, it's a hose. Yes, it's the water that's refreshing you. And then we try to be funny sometimes, so keep it a little lighter. Yeah. So, yeah, that's beautiful, Peter. That's what we're saying. You could separate the word yourselves and say yourselves and see the bondage of self was the owning of the self. Yeah, yourself. When it's only self it's the emblem of a system called self-centeredness. That's all it is. Yeah. For self-centeredness, for self-centeredness to be running in you, there's going to be a feeling of a self. That's what it is. And you're going to look at everything as how it pertains to that self. Unfortunately, that self isn't, or fortunately, that self isn't you, which is great. Yeah. If you get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're going to listen to how self sees life, and then we usually just formulate its view as our view, and that's the bondage of self. Tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it says it's afraid, I say I'm afraid. Yeah. It's almost like a knee-jerk thing, and then from there we question everything else, but we don't question that, and we're just trying to get down to that. Yeah. And maybe you'll lose interest in questioning all the other shit. Yeah. So I'm so into it. I just, I have imagery of myself. I've had, I still feel how I used to see. I can't do it justice, thank God, because I'm not there, but I can still feel it, sense it, yes? And I sense it with others a lot too. And a little bit of light goes a long, long way. So, and I have great faith in light. Yeah. I believe understanding can move mountains. In my life, it has. When my first, it was a miracle that came out of the Joe and Charlie seminars when I went to see those guys. The light went on so unbelievably around the fourth step and the working steps. It was and I was walking in the dark for 6 months or something. And then it was unbelievable. I was so stoked I went back 2 more years. And then after 3 years, it was over for me. Yeah. But my appreciation of them wasn't, but I didn't need to do it and go there. I got, you know what I mean? You got enough. It's time to keep going. And that was just a shift in understanding. I had a very rock concrete way of understanding, and they moved it. And the knowledge that it could be moved was revelatory. Yes, that my mind could be open and willing and get reshaped. And they were part of in the beginning. They really brought light. Because the guy who was my sponsor, he didn't even do the sex part of the inventory. He didn't know what he was doing, so he did the best he can. And where I was, a lot of times in AA meetings, it's not rah, rah, rah. There's everyone's sitting like this, back, leaning back like this, and fucked in their own little Idaho up there. To go to this seminar, there was like 500 super enthusiastic people. It was great. I mean, it was really alive. It got me very inspired. Really did. And the funny thing, I knew it because I had heard it mentioned at a meeting, and the two people who mentioned it, the light was on. Yeah, they were sort of beaming. And then I didn't hear about it. And then months later, a secretary said, "Oh, we have applications for the Joe and Charlie's Big Book seminar." And I ran right up there at the break and grabbed one of those applications and sent it in and went. And then that door opened. It was incredible, really, really incredible. And then I constantly used those 4-step, the inventory process. You can print them out. It was perfect. Yeah, very good. So understanding, in a lot of ways, is the key. Yeah. The door you think may be closed can be open with an understanding. Yeah. So here we are. And it's an understanding of the big book that is in the big book. We're just extracting it and bringing it out and presenting it again. Yeah. So the book is a living book, means when you grow, it grows. Yeah. When you look at it from a different state, you see different things. Yes. Yes. That's the point, isn't it? Yeah. So, all right, let's get to Diane, and then I'm going to go have lunch, I think. All right, Diane, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you? Thank you.
I'm good. I'm back. Good.
You're almost, yeah. Yeah, I'm loving this. I just found this such a, I keep on finding things, right? That mental anxiety, not believing it, and just, trying to focus. And there are people, by the way, that think we do have parasites and it causes this. But that's another. That's another discussion. But coming from where I come from, getting sick and recovery, staying sober and all these years, me having to dig really deep into this stuff, going to trauma psychologists and looking at these defects and stuff. And the trauma psychologist, says procrastination and sloth and all that's just self-harm, right? And so I'm looking at it and saying, geez, we could probably call the whole disease self-harm, because and I look at other people and I just see them with their old resentment still, and then, digging deep here myself, and just the root causes, and just finding out what not to believe in is such a, I don't know, it's in the now, in that 6 and 7 where we can only do it in the now, right? We can only see it then now. So it's just a series of nows dealing with this stuff as they come up, and that surrender has to be, right? I mean, even coming on here talking to you is something, a mental anxiety for me, right? That kind of thing. So walking through those fears and that and stuff is really big, right? And that's how that trust in a higher power can take over, is what I see, right? So yeah, I really do need to keep on listening with you because of the stuff I'm dealing with. And well, you don't like the word process, but I just,
Oh,
yeah.
there are, we're in processes. It's not that I don't like process. I believe they have an inadequacy built in because we are a previous process attempting to use other processes to process that. And the first process wins in the stream of processing, I think. So that's all about process. Yeah, I know the action figure may need to go through many of them, and this will allow you to travel lighter through it. Yeah, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, as they have to come up though, and I have to recognize them. So I guess, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And also recognize though some things, a lot of shit's psychosomatic. The head will make shit up also. You got to be watch out for that because its nature of addiction can be addiction into getting better and everything like that, and which causes you to have to be worse to get better. Yeah. So the head plays with everything. So it's asked to be told when you're maximum use. Maybe you're not meant to get super better in a lot of ways. Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm like stainless steel, not gold. You know, you can only polish me so much. Yeah. Yeah.
I do know that service does work. I mean, I chair a meeting last night out of the blue because they asked me, and just doing that, even, I see the world in a different place again, right? I mean,
Yes.
So there's something to that, but I have seen that, sometimes it does have to get worse before it gets better, just to see I don't have to be there, I guess. And I don't want to be there. I mean, my drinking had to get really bad, really, before I got
Yeah.
here, so there's something to that, but yeah,
Just know the nature of the head. It
Yeah.
will make a solution a problem. It will if it can. You know, I have worked with people that I had to tell them to stop taking inventory because it got to be obsession with self in a lot of ways. They weren't enjoying their sobriety. They were just every decision was going over what was my motive. I was what the fuck, Make a left on hate or a right on hate, Ashbury. Who cares? Yes, it wasn't that profound. So sometimes, yeah, yeah, it's a situational thing. Sometimes people have to. It would be best for them to stop doing some stuff for a while instead of constantly looking for something to look at. Yeah, I don't know. I get into it. Yeah. Yeah. So, but what is needed to be done, you'll probably be introduced to it. Yeah, it will. Or something that's a nagging thing will inconveniently keep showing up until you pay attention to it. Yeah, it has a lovely way of tapping you on the shoulder or slapping you or something. Yeah. So, yeah,
It definitely does. It
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
yeah,
But it's funny how a character defect can kind of slowly creep out. I hear people joking about procrastination in meetings and stuff like that. But I mean, when you're not watching, it can really creep up and take over some of these.
Yes, but also again, sometimes people are calling relaxing procrastination. Yeah. And sometimes the action figure needs relaxing every once in a while. And for some people, that's a no bueno. Their head just has them demanding to do something. So it can go both ways. Yes. So procrastination could be really relaxing, but the head sees it as something wrong with it. Yeah. This is the way the subtle shades of things become more revealed as you go along. Yeah, yeah. You can
Well,
see.
yeah, I just see the evidence of procrastination will be all around you. Right?
Yeah, it's sort of like the Toyota sooner or later has to admit it's not going to be a Rolls Royce, and then just yeah, just but it's very reliable. So that's it's got
Well, it's like I'll have to explain what I'm talking about. I have been in renovation in my house for 5 years. Okay, something always comes up, right? Health issues. Oh, my back last year. Then there's a car accident. There's surgery. There's getting sick with Bab. And here it is, just sitting there. It's like, okay, can only
Yeah.
go to so many meetings and do this. Like,
Yeah, honey. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes that drive is the head playing God, And if you lose interest in it and you go against its wishes and just chill out, you may have a lovely nap today that was sorely needed. Seriously.
well,
Seriously.
and that's
Sometimes you got to buck the system in a way. You got to just the head saying one thing, hey, listen, God forbid, I'm going to go against it, and then just chill out. You'll see a giant foot doesn't show up out of the sky and squish you. It's not like, yeah.
And I get that too, because I go to other 12-step meetings like ACA, and I even checked out Emotions Anonymous.
Wow, honey.
And
Hey,
that's
coming back, Diane. You're a lifetime member of Zen Bitch Lab. Yeah.
that's what they said to me at Emotions Anonymous. They said, just look at your mess and just accept it.
Well, that would be nice if you could do that, yes. But see,
Right?
those things don't work to me because the problem is you can't accept it. It's just like people saying, "Oh, just don't drink." I said, "Well, I understand that, but I can't seem to stop drinking." Yeah. So to me, the solution is based on admitting that you're outmatched. Yeah.
Yeah.
Surrender of, let's say, the managing position and the controlling position, and just to admit I'm outmatched, take a breath, and then, like it says, pause when agitated, and sometimes a pause turns into a nap or turns into a day where you're just walking around the backyard doing nothing. Wow. Doing nothing has
Going
such a
crazy.
bad connotation. Doing nothing is a super high level of spirituality in a sense.
Yeah.
If you want to know. In some circles, doing nothing is the targeted condition.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that can be pretty
yeah,
chaotic.
yeah. So it's matters, in the Aboriginal way, they saw a car, they looked at it as a house. Yeah. So they'd break the windows and they would live in that car. So every place has different views.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you go to some countries, I tell you, I go to Italy with my lovely gal, and you better be ready for a 2-hour lunch because that's what you're gonna have. Yeah. And you're gonna have a 2-hour dinner. And between, you're gonna hear people talking about dinner and lunch. Yeah. And
Mhm.
if you're an active doer, you're gonna have a lot of trouble in Italy.
Oh,
Especially if they're an Italian family. I mean, they'll say ciao, but no one ever leaves. It just goes on and on for hours.
I think I'm getting my couch delivered.
Oh, there you go. Fantastic, honey. Well, I gotta get going. I gotta
Thanks,
go.
Paul.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And hey, let's say hello. Martin, thank you. Thank you for keeping me on point with this, we agnostics. And if people don't want to do it, send us a chat on the message. I won't look at it, but someone will tell me about it. Marl, nice to see you as always. Peter in Arizona, very nice share today. Thank you. Rico, as always. Stephen Mack, Miak, nice to see, honey. Mickey, our eternal greeter. Yes. That's a lot of people saw Mickey in their near-death experiences. Yeah, yeah. Mark, nice to see you. Nina. Oh, Nina, thank you so much. You got your phone number there, Nina, just in case. I don't know if you want it. Or someone's phone number. I don't know. Maybe it's someone else.
It's from another meeting, but it's fine.
All right, all right.
In case you need to call me, Paul.
What? Hmm?
Never
Yeah.
mind, it's
All
fine.
right. Nice to see you, hon. Annette, as always. Chris. Oh, Chris decided to, he's got the same hat, but somehow it looks different.
It's a
Nice
new
to-
hat, Paul.
What?
It's a new
one.
hat.
Oh, all right. So that's why you look different.
Uh-huh.
The
Good to
same
see you
you,
guys.
but a new hat. That's good. That's good. Nice to see you. Thanks for dropping in.
You too, Paul. Thank you. Hey, everyone.
John K, Oliver K, Mickey, hey, everyone who's here, can't leave this page. Thank you so much. We'll be back, I hope. If anything ever happens to me, it will be ultimately put on Zen Bislab. And then they'll just feed you old Zooms and I will live on. Yes. My purpose, my being alive is at this point irrelevant, really. It's just, it will be kept alive through the videos. Hallelujah. All right. I'll see everyone, I hope. Bye-bye.
Paul,
See you, Martin.
team, thanks for your love and service, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks, everyone.
Mickey!
Thank you.